So the whole screaming thing. Who heard the screams again?
So, from what my wife went into Stewart's this morning, her coworker, which is one of the best friends of the lady that has served us coffee numerous times, she said that she had spoken to her, and someone in the family or one of the friends heard screams around the area, and they didn't really think anything of it to begin with. But as she didn't return within a few minutes and they heard that scream, there was commotion, I guess, on one side of the park, and they started looking for her. They found the bike within the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing? It's Ryan?
Yes, how's it going?
Good, man. Thank you for allowing me to call you.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you allowing me on the platform. I was on YouTube last night, and I saw you covering this story, and I've been watching you for a year or so, and I was
thanks.
like, no shit, this is on his channel. So I'll keep it brief and to the point because I'm just taking a quick break from working real
Gotcha.
quick. So I heard a couple of calls from locals on your other channel that you aired. I understand that if you come to this community and you don't really pay attention to anything, it can seem like a safe community. It's more upper middle class. But as of a few years back, the town of Clifton Park, which is 10 minutes south of where this happened, that's one of the highest towns in New York State for human trafficking and children trafficking. Also, if you've ever heard of the cult NXIVM was based out of this area, and the leader of that cult was sentenced a couple of years back. They were very big for children trafficking and human trafficking. So if you don't do your research, you can be fooled and think, this area is perfectly safe, nothing's ever going to happen. But the reality of the situation really isn't that. As far as homelessness goes, the city of Saratoga, which is 10 minutes away from where this took place, has tons of homeless people and a huge homeless problem. We don't even have places to shelter these people. They're sleeping on the streets and they're getting banned from parks, etc. Now, on top of that, there's another gentleman. I'm just going to look at my phone real quick. His name was Charles Ross. And a few weeks back, he was let go with no bail or no bond because of the stupid bail reform we have in New York State. He was banned from Saratoga Park a few weeks back. He was taking pictures of younger women, stalking younger women.
Oh, shit, I found him. Yeah.
Yeah, if you search his name in Saratoga, his stuff will pop up. I think he just got released with no bond or bail a few weeks back, and he lives in the area, and he's waiting to face his charges. Now, I'm not saying that, he did this. I'm just saying, this is what he's charged with, and he's out with no bond or bail right now. And a local had called the state police to make sure they connected those dots, and they said, yes, we have a team working on it. And she asked, do you know where he was the night that the girl went missing? And they were not willing to answer that question. Obviously, the investigation's too active. So
this is weird. I've never even heard of this. So where was this guy? You said was he Saratoga Park? This guy, Charles Ross.
Yes. So he was banned from a Saratoga Park weeks back, and that park is only miles from where the Monroe Park is.
Wow. What was that city again that you said that's nearby that has I know you said Saratoga Springs, but then there's another city, I forgot the name of it, that you mentioned before that has.
So there's another city, Clifton Park.
Clifton Park.
And this is where child trafficking and human trafficking, they don't put it on the news or anything, but a few years back we were in the top of New York State for the highest cases of that issue. And the cult NXIVM was based out of the Clifton Park area, which is 10 minutes down the northway from where this happened.
Very interesting.
So if you only listen to the news and what the news allows you to hear, yeah, you might think we're in a great city. But when you really start looking at numbers and facts behind the scenes, and it's just like anywhere else. Stuff happens here. And unfortunately, this area, one of the more popular crimes is human trafficking.
And I know you have to go soon, but what are any thoughts about that specific park, the Moreau Lake State Park, as far as like, and I heard a lot of people comment that like it wasn't dark at the time that Charlotte was riding her bike. 6:15,
So
6:45.
I don't know tons of details about the case. I just
Okay.
know I've been following it since yesterday. I work outside every day. I can say this time of year right now, it's usually starting to get dark around 5:30 to 6 o'clock. I would say by 7 o'clock, you're pretty much looking at, no light at all. So if it was in that 6 to 7 window and she was in the woods, then I would say most likely it wasn't the brightest.
Okay.
The park itself, I've only been there a handful of times, so I can't say, was there room for him to be able to get out of there with her or anything like that. I would imagine, just speaking in general, it's a giant place. So just like that escaped prisoner last month, even though, they have all this manpower in the area, it's a huge wooded area. And it's not like it takes 30 minutes to get on Interstate 87. It's only less than 5 minutes until you're on the highway, and you can be in Canada in 90 minutes from there. So it's, or you can be at the city, New York, or you can be in New York City in 3 hours. So it's pretty easy to get out of there. And even though it's rural, it's pretty easy to hop on a highway and be gone quickly. Now I'm praying they find her, but yeah, it's a scary situation.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate the call. Very, very interesting. I'm gonna take a look at the video too about this guy, about this weirdo stalking woman in the park. I've covered stories like that. There was one story here locally to me actually, where this guy, he had done this multiple times, and he actually at one point he actually chased after a woman. She narrowly escaped the guy. She did an interview on the TV. It was pretty crazy. But
yeah, I mean, it's scary shit. These people like that everywhere, man. And history has shown that people that start with doing something like what they see as not bad, just snapping creepy photos of women. History has shown that people that do this type of stuff, it progresses and gets worse.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe this guy. I'm not saying this is what happened, but just a hypothesis could be this guy got caught for the first time doing creepy shit, and he seems like he's weird, so maybe he lost it, and who knows?
Right. Well, thanks, man.
But yeah, so
appreciate it.
No problem. I'm gonna stay in tune with everything going on. You have my number and email. If I hear anything else, I'll shoot you an email.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Have a
You
great
too.
day, man.
Thanks. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hi, Mel.
Hi. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for reaching out. Let me call you. What was the other case that we spoke on before? You said you spoke previously.
I'm not even sure, but I know we were texting back and forth. It was some shooter or something that was in a town. I think it was in maybe Alabama. I don't know. It was a couple years ago.
Okay. Cool. So are you in this area, or you know about it, or you just had thoughts?
Actually, I moved from Saratoga probably like 8 years ago. I'm actually from Dutchess County, but I lived in Troy, and I met my husband in Saratoga. So we lived there for many years and then moved again like 8 years ago back to Saratoga. It's a very popular area. Saratoga is known for their horse track, their wineries, restaurants. Now there's many exits off of I-87, which is, we call it the Northway. That also leads to like George, which is a very popular area in the summertime. And it goes all the way up to Plattsburgh, which is on the Canadian border.
As far as okay. But let me ask you, the 87, because I'm looking at the map right now. You said that there's many. What off of that? Or like
there's like a lot of exits for like Saratoga. I think they have like 3 exits, if I remember. I lived off at exit 16, which was in Wilton. There is a prison there. I could see it from the back of my house, lit up like at nighttime. Also, there is a lot of I'd say predators. I actually had one living next to me.
What?
Yeah. The school district used to be great. I've heard in the last 8 years, you can like check it on YouTube. Saratoga Blue Streaks has like it's the kids are beating up the teachers, so the whole place has gone in the hole. I guess I go home like every year to see. I have family there in Gainesville. Um, Monroe State Park, though, you have to be registered to get in there. It's like a regular state park. You have a tag on your car that lets you in. You pay for it yearly, monthly, whatever. And to get in, you have to get a pass, which means, you have to register too. So I'm sure they have everybody who's actually been staying in that park. There is ways in and out besides that direct route. Yeah, it's kind of scary now, but from the governor jumping on it, I'm just gonna say she has many problems. From my family that lives there, I was just told probably a couple months ago that there is a lot of homeless people. I don't know if they're immigrants or whatever, crossing the border people, but they're near like the train tracks.
Really?
So yeah, it's scary. And I can remember about what Ryan was talking about the trafficking of the kids. There is also an exit on the Northway for a rest area that literally had to be shut down because of bad things going on there at the rest area.
Let me ask you. So this old Saratoga Road that runs right by that by the camp area. To drive through that road, do you have to be registered to drive through that area, that specific road?
No,
Okay.
nope. No, there is a checkpoint to get in and to register, but as I can tell you now, I don't think it's manned all hours, and I really don't remember the cutoff to get into the park.
Okay.
Like some of them close by dusk, or open by dusk and close by certain times at night. So, there's always a way to sneak into parks.
Yeah.
And Saratoga State Park, where you were just talking about the one guy who was watching girls and stuff, yeah, you can sneak into that really easy. That's actually where SPAC is. SPAC is a big concert center that's huge. Like everyone wants to go see a concert, they either go to Albany or they go to SPAC. It's called Saratoga Performing Arts Center.
Oh, and you said you guys have a border problem?
That what?
You guys have a border problem?
I'd say probably.
So is there people trying to run over there or trying to come in over here?
I'd say it's probably like maybe, don't quote me, maybe 8 hours from the border of Canada.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a big homeless whatever problem, right downtown Saratoga, which, I was kind of shocked when my sister-in-law told me. I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
But the community is great, and they will come together, and I'm not going to say anything bad about, the Saratoga Police Department because they've always been great. But like I said, it's been 8 years, and I know the school has turned to garbage. And my kids went there when they were younger. They went to Greenfield Center, which isn't really far. But yeah, there's lots of back roads and stuff to get into to Moreau Park. So
very interesting. So I mean, this person, if somebody did take Charlotte, they necessarily didn't have to register, especially if they just pulled up on this old Saratoga Road somewhere.
Right. And the other thing is, the Northway is a hop, skip, and a jump from that road.
The Northway. What's the Northway? That's the
87.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I do see it. Okay.
And that road goes up to Plattsburgh, and that's where it gets like really foresty, if you want to call it that, and wooded, and goes right in, and same with Lake George. You know, so they could have taken this little girl anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? That's the scary thing. Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering if they have like. So somebody yesterday called and said that there is some type of cameras, but maybe it's only at the buildings or something of this place. There's like a park office here.
I would probably say if there is one, it's probably where you pull in to register to get into the park. But like I said, I don't think it's manned all the time, and I'm not sure what the hours are anymore.
Yeah, there was this case locally to me where this girl, well, she actually they believe she went willingly, like she left on her own accord, but when she got off a bus stop by a park, they thought they saw her at the park, but when they went to go check the cameras, like almost all the cameras weren't working. There was like one camera that was
right.
Working. This Florida story, so who knows?
But you can look up like the predators in the area, and you will see that there is a lot of them. Like I said, there was one right next door to me.
Damn.
Yeah, like my fence was like part of his fence. So yeah, I watched him a lot.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate the call.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mel.
No problem. All right, we'll talk.
All right, have a great day. Bye.
Hey, what's going on?
Brandon, what's up?
Not too much. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. We're just earlier going over some of the. I don't really know if there's updates, but just some of the details of the case.
I actually tried to hit you up on Facebook this morning on 2 of your following accounts and just kind of give you info. But my wife went to the Stewart's around the corner from her house, and I was completely unaware. But Charlotte's mother has served us coffee numerous times.
Oh.
And one of her coworkers there actually had spoken with her a few times, and I know the whole kind of situation is not really clear on media as far as the timeline and everything else like that. But from what it sounds like, they heard actual screaming from the other side of their station from where they are in the park, because it's not that far away. And her mom was actually just there to drop her off, and she's going to be hanging out with her cousins and stuff for the rest of the night and the family. But they heard the screaming, didn't think very much of it, didn't see her come back within like a few minutes of that. And then people started being, I guess, frantic in the area. And then they started the search because they hadn't seen her come back within like the 8 to 10 minute time period after hearing the screams. And supposedly someone had mentioned that it sounded like potentially her. But they came up upon the bike and also the croc, which, if you remember last night, we talked and I said, maybe it sounds like she tried to run from the bike or whoever. But it sounds like almost instantaneously they knew it was a child abduction. So the fact that we didn't receive an Amber Alert in our area for 14 hours from that point. We received 2 within about 4 hours of each other, but the first one was only at 10 a.m. the next day. And if you look back to even the mapping of the area and everything, even toward where her bike was, I've mentioned to a few people, so I said last night, there's not really a transient community in that vicinity. Over the last year or two, though, off of Wilton's exit, right off of Route 9, you'll notice that there's been more of a presence of like a druggy group or whatever that'll hang cardboard signs out near like just off the Northway where they know people are going to shop and everything. And there have been drug encampments near like the Wilton area toward Best Buy. If you look at like Pyramid Pines Estates, there's the trailer park over there where there's actually huge drug activity along with pedophiles and stuff too in that general vicinity. Not to say that it's toward that, but people mention Wilton. Wilton has a high presence of that in addition to Glens Falls, even if you go north. So
you said Milton
and everything in
or
addition.
Wilton?
Wilton. Wilton, Wilton. Wilton and Glens Falls are the 2 closest places, which those are the only ones in the area that actually have established pedophile communities to where they're not able to go toward a certain place or another, you know what I mean, within school reasons. But those direct routes, either way, you're going north or south, and one's going to bring you to Wilton, and it would have been Route 9 that they would have initially had to take. from the vicinity. So they only went north and south, if anything, if she was abducted. And unfortunately, they didn't close down the roads and release this statement ahead of time. But there's also been a significant presence also with the police scanners and everything that have been looking for a maroon or dark colored, red colored F-150 or 250 with a cooler in the back and some other things. And I had mentioned to you yesterday, there's a lot of surveillance in the area, and that's, if you're not familiar with it, there's a lot of trail cams that are actually live to the public, and that's mainly to check out nature and everything in the general vicinity, is also to monitor things. So you'll see, if you look in actual Monroe parks, like if you look for their general trail cams, they do have live and active trail cams that have pictures of wildlife, because they still obviously display that to people to get people to come around and to make it feel like a safer area. But right outside of that, where Old Saratoga Road is, and it goes up to Gick and all that, as I mentioned, there's a heavy presence of surveillance. So I'm hoping that this isn't just someone chasing clout and looking for a reason to make a post on Facebook, and that there was actual evidence. But I guess the police will allude to that further. But there was a large blast going out with a heavy trooper with a heavy trooper presence anywhere from Clifton Park up towards Saratoga when we were just on the Northway earlier.
Okay, going back a little bit. So,
and that runs parallel to Route 9.
Okay. So the whole screaming thing, who heard the screams again?
So from what my wife went into Stewart's this morning, her coworker, which is one of the best friends of the lady that has served us coffee numerous times, she said that she had spoken to her, and someone in the family or one of the friends heard screams around the area, and they didn't really think anything of it to begin with. But as she didn't return within a few minutes and they heard that scream, there was commotion, I guess, on one side of the park, and they started looking for her. They found the bike within the next 5 minutes, and then we're looking in the vicinity and also had seen the croc close to the bicycle as well, supposedly. And then from there, they automatically knew that she had to have been taken. You know what I mean? Like I said, you don't see a presence of wildlife up here. No one's going to get dragged off or anything by a bear or anything else without people noticing and hearing it. I mean, the only way to have any type of commotion and not notice it or whatever, I mean, people had to have snatched her, whether it was a group or whether it was a single person. It does not happen. That's not logical up here, I know. And that's every parent's worst nightmare. But that's ultimately what happened.
Wow.
So they're trying to narrow even a vehicle description down and everything else. It sounds like even on the scanners. And then I had talked to my uncle, that's a local officer. But there's not a whole lot to go on, unfortunately, which doesn't, I just don't think they're releasing as much to the public as they can be.
All right, man. Awesome. Well, thank you for the call. If you have anything else, just hit me up. And we'll be in touch.
I'll let you know if anything else comes across or if there's any other news locally between friends and family of the actual family now that we're in contact with them. So, but yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks again for the time. And
thank you.
thanks for the
Appreciate
coverage.
it. Take care.
All right, man. Take care.